The following program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
And now, here's Johnny.
This group is higher than a kite. It's easy to when to applaud, we have a sign. The trouble is now, knowing when to laugh during the monologue. Why don't we get a big sign, Fred, that says, laugh? How was Hawaii? You just got back from Hawaii?
Loved Hawaii.
Staying at the Monekukiniki Hotel there. Did you learn anything?
Yes, sir, I did.
Are you going to demonstrate later on?
No, sir, I'm not.
I hate to start... What is that you're wearing?
I just thought I'd borrow Grandma's curtains and live a little bit.
What's Grandma running around like this? I hate to start the show off with a sad note, but this weekend at the Lion Country Safari, Herbie the hippo passed away. They had an unusual eulogy. They had a parrot trained. The parrot gave the eulogy. Sounded just like Jessel. Said, I've known Herbie many years, one of the finest hippos. It was a great fun weekend. We're in a new studio tonight, and the laughs are not down here yet. Isn't this where Monty Hall used to...
Yes.
I expect to see giant carrots and people dressed like rabbits sitting out here. I had a great weekend. Watching television, I saw the Anderson tapes, and then I put on the 11 o'clock news and watched the Republican tapes. Have you been following that affair? Huh? The Watergate affair? The Republicans apparently bugged, several hours of Democratic meetings? And they got all those tapes, and all they heard were top Republicans or Democrats saying, what are we going to do? That's all they got. The Democrats also, Democrats also tried to bug the place where the Republicans make all their big decisions, but it's hard getting to the boardroom at General Motors. See, I go either way. It's interesting to see how these jokes go. They suspect Agnew might be involved. Because on one of the tapes, they heard somebody saying, testing, 1, 2, 4. Interesting to see how the political situation is going. You see the picture in the paper today of President Nixon meeting with Ray Charles, the soul singer? And the president told Ray Charles that he and Pat really love soul music. As a matter of fact, they have 2 copies of Glow Little Glowworm by the Mills Brothers. You got a, something from, Fred came back with a sun rash. You call it a hickey from the sun, right? Actually, it's a hickey from the son of Don Ho, but we're not going to go into that. What else happened today? Did you know? Oh, this is a hostile group in here. In New York today, did you see this? The Central Park Zoo, Lulu, their gorilla, gave birth to a little baby gorilla. It's the first baby gorilla ever born in captivity in New York City. There's a scandal involved. They don't know who the father is. Okay. Well, I'm not going to keep you much longer. We got a good show tonight. This is a little unusual for us, isn't it?
Yes.
In here. Because Bob Hope is right next door, taping his show, and that's why we moved over here. Bob will be here. Dom DeLuise is with us. Peter Fonda. Most talented singer, Mr. John Denver. And what else we have?
That's it.
That's pretty good. What do you want? We'll be with you. We'll be right back after a word from one of our sponsors.
I don't know about you, but I want my makeup to look clean and fresh. That's why I switched to Natural Wonder oil-free makeup. It doesn't give me a greasy, over-made-up look because it's the first makeup without a drop of oil in it. And some makeups have this much oil. Oil-free makeup really makes you look and feel fresh and clean. If your makeup doesn't tell you otherwise, it's probably got oil in it. Mine's oil-free.
Natural Wonder Oil-Free Makeup by Revlon. Beautiful.
Wouldn't you like to get away for a few hours? A Beauty Rest by Simmons can help put you into such a deep, sound sleep, you'll feel like you've been away overnight.
Hello there.
Hello.
We are back. Does it seem strange working in here?
Seems a little strange. How about how close the audience is? They're right on our doorstep.
Aren't we this close in the other studio?
No, I don't think so. And also, the lower angle makes it look like we're just all in our living room.
Yeah, Bob
Let's have
is...
a party.
We're the same space.
What?
We're the same space.
It seems strange. I don't know why. Doc is where he's supposed to be.
I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Anything to report?
I was back in our town yesterday for the weekend.
Were you back in New York? What were you doing?
Great. Every Indian summer, I was rehearsing my show, my nightclub.
Oh, yes.
I had to go back and meet the troops, the band, hear the charts.
It opens, I guess we
13th,
can mention it, November the 13th in New York at the
Masonette Room at
at the
St. Regis.
Masonette Room at the St. Regis.
I was there Saturday night to see Mel Torme, who's tearing them up down. It's a great room. It's a very intimate room. It's only 200 seats. Very nice.
And you're going in there.
Will you be there opening night?
If you want, I can't be there opening night.
Why not?
Well, yes, I can be there opening night. You said you didn't want me there opening night.
Well, maybe. The acts sound pretty good. We'll see how it is as it gets closer. I don't want you there to get me psyched
You
out.
told me you didn't want me there the other day.
Well, I
opening
was a
night.
little worried. You have to have a little.
I want to go opening night
All right, opening night.
and just have a couple little drinks.
Oh
before you go on.
no! Don't do that.
And I want to sit in the back of the room as soon as you walk out. I want to hear Temptation. I want to be one of those guys.
Remember what
Sing
you-
Melancholy Baby.
Remember what you did that
Now,
night?
what are you going to do if somebody does that?
Remember what you did that night at the Copacabana to Paul Anka? He almost got out of the business.
It was Jerry Vale I did that to.
Jerry Van?
That was a just silly night.
Yes.
A lot of
Pretty
comedians
crazy
there.
night.
But
Yes. Don't do that to me, please.
I wouldn't do that to you.
Yes.
All right. What else have I got here? I'm going to tell you who we got on our anniversary show first, which is going to be October the 2nd. What day is that?
Monday.
Actually, October the 1st is our anniversary, but we couldn't be on the air October the 1st because it would be on Sunday.
That's right.
And the show isn't seen on Sunday.
That's right.
So
Some places it is.
Well, not the anniversary show.
No. That'll be seen a month later in those places.
When are we seen in Hawaii, Fred?
1 week after you do it.
It's seen a week after we do it here. Why is that?
They have to row the tape over.
Tape is taken over by Dingy. I didn't know that. Anyway, here October the 2nd, Governor Ronald Reagan will be with us. Jack Benny, Joey Bishop, George Burns, Sammy Davis Jr., Jerry Lewis, Don Rickles, Dan Roan, and Dean Martin.
Wow.
For openers. Well, that's all live. We're not going to do any film clips or anything. They will all be actually right here on our stage. All right.
Do you have anything of note? You keep carrying books around.
No, this is a copy of Los Angeles Magazine, and in it they have 25 things to do when you're bored. Well, everybody gets bored. Here's what they say. Have your portrait painted. That's one of the things they recommend. Thumb through
Excited this audience, doesn't it?
Yes. Thumb through the encyclopedia in pursuit of new knowledge. Invent something. I'm not making these up. This is what this magazine says to do. Take a scenic bus tour of Los Angeles. I've never seen a bus in Los Angeles. If you can find the bus. Learn a new skill, take a night school course, take a tour of a factory or bakery.
There are 25 of those?
No, I'm not going to read them all, obviously, the way they're going. Start collecting something.
Start collecting.
That's all it says. Old doorknobs. That's what it says. Now, who would want to collect old doorknobs?
You might because of your dreaded fear.
Well, that's a little-known phobia, and I don't want to talk about
Tell
it.
them.
That's-
I mean, go ahead, because somebody out in the audience might have that same fear.
Well-
and you mentioning it would make them feel less
It's
embarrassed about it.
nyctophobia is what it is, and most people don't know about that.
What is nyctophobia?
It's a fear of backing into doorknobs. Most people don't know that. It's a...
Now, see, you probably helped somebody out there. There may be other nyctophobiaites out there.
Well, it's just kind of weird. Go for a bicycle ride. Well, those
Does
are
that
not...
cover it? About the 25, I guess, hits everything, doesn't it?
Well, that's for just your average boredom. Now, when the boredom really sets in...
Deep boredom.
Deep ennui. When you really have boredom, we have some more things here to do that they did not list in this magazine. This is when you're really bored. Punch a cop. You know, erase a zebra. Go to the beach, find a sleeping sunbather, and melt a chocolate bar in his stomach. No.
And a couple of chocolate treats.
Yes. Get a flavor straw and suck out your gas tank. Interview a meatloaf. Line your shorts with chapstick. Start your own ecology drive. Buy a tree and plant a Datsun. This one you're really bored. Ride a skateboard through a car wash. Weave a potholder out of your chest hair. And the final one, throw prune pits at a shut-in. Those are just weird little things. Wait, no, come on now, don't encourage that. Don't encourage that kind of material. I got one of Doc's pills in me. You know, I just came back from Lake Tahoe this morning, and I'm a little flaky. I worked up there at the, gee, that's beautiful up there. That whole Lake Tahoe, went up to the Sahara Hotel. It's beautiful, beautiful country. And Doc has something he takes when he's tired.
Yes. Gives him kind of a lift?
Yeah, you blink a lot, but you're sure awake. I don't know what it is. It's nothing, I don't want to give the impression that it's something illegal. It's nothing like that. It's a perfectly legal formula, isn't it, Doc?
Yeah, there's nothing illegal about it at all.
Come on now, don't do that. It's a little thing just when you're
feeling low.
Yes, and it doesn't bother you at all. It just gives you get a little
lift.
You get a little hyper, you know.
You know, you're the only one I ever knew that had nyctophobia.
I have a lot of them, and I don't want to discuss them. You know some of them.
Yes.
Altrophobia is another one I have.
Which one is that?
Well, I'll tell you later. We'll return as soon as I think of what it is with our guest after we take a short pause for this commercial.
All right, good doctor. Some Hornet music, please. Oh, that's splendid. Okay, we're ready. Ladies and gentlemen, this is American Motors' new Hornet hatchback. Now, it looks like a sports car, it runs like a sports car, but it uses gas like a compact, and it costs like an economy car. And the Hornet hatchback gives you lots of extra room when you need it. Open the hatch, fold down the back seats, and load up. Luggage for your vacation, or wood from the lumber yard. It's great for young families with lots of things to do and lots of places to see. American Motors' new Hornet hatchback. It is some car. And only American Motors makes this promise. The buyer protection plan backs every 73 car we build. And we'll see that our dealers back that promise too. American Motors Corporation. We back them better because we build them better.
You know, Bob Hope has been introduced so many times, it's difficult to think of something new way. What would you say about Bob Hope that's never been said?
I would say, I've mentioned this before, that he has more class, I think, as a performer.
Style.
You're just a classy man.
Well, he's with us. His latest film, Cancel My Reservation, opens Thursday, September 21st at the Radio City Music Hall in New York. Would you welcome Mr. Bob Hope?
Yes.
How are you?
How are you?
Very natty tonight.
They make this stuff in all prices, don't they? I want you to know what they make on the upper floor at Hart, Schaffner & Martin.
That's right. You've.
How are you, John?
I'm
All
fine,
right?
Robert.
And you, my boy.
Good, my pal.
You
Very
look
nice.
very fine. You look good.
I don't have to start off asking where you've been, I can tell you.
Oh,
Fella
geez,
sent
where
me a-
I've been.
Fella
I've
sent
been
me-
home one day in the last month.
Fella sent me a picture today. I got it in the mail. A fellow by the name of Dan Griffin.
Yeah.
Apparently you were at this place in Wisconsin.
Yeah, right.
And he sent along this picture.
Oh,
Huh? Get a close-up of it.
Oh, come
so
on.
I know where you were.
Oh, my God.
Egg Harbor, Wisconsin, right?
Isn't that awful?
Advertising for Egg Harbor.
Is that wild?
Whereabouts is Egg Harbor?
Egg Harbor is just up from Green Bay, and
Right.
it's right up from Green Bay to Sturgeon Bay and up there. And I want to tell you, it is too much.
Yeah.
It is too. Do you ever think I'd wind up at Egg Harbor? I know you do.
Egg Harbor, Wisconsin.
I was up there candling a few.
He says
Now
you,
there's something I'll tell
he
you.
quotes one of your lines here.
What did he say?
He said, you said Egg Harbor is so small, the local mafia chief is a Filipino.
I do a lot of stuff out of town. No, but it's sensational. I wanted to find a place. We played the Duquesne, Illinois Fair, and I said,
Right.
and I had to go to Michigan Fair, so I said, where can I go? And I was talking to this guy, Harold Fuller, up in Green Bay, and he said, we got a house for you up at Egg Harbor. We went up to Robert Cole's house, and it was fantastic, I want to tell you. And it's great to get out all alone, you know.
And that was
like
just a vacation, really.
Nobody recognizes you, you know. I lasted about a half hour. Oh, God, it's terrible. Those trees don't applaud and the seagulls don't care. You know? All they're interested in is the bread. I think it's just, I can't stand it. If there hadn't been a star in my tent, I would have left right away.
Really?
Really.
Egg Harbor.
But
Should
the
go there
people
sometime.
up there are something else. They're just sensational. And we got to Sturgeon Bay, and we stopped at the supermarket to get some groceries, you know, and we were on there. And there was one old guy looked at me and sort of thought he knew me, you know. And he sort of stalked me for about 15 minutes, and he finally walked over. He said, you couldn't be Bob Hope, could you? I said, I could be, but I don't want to be tonight. He said, I thought so.
Hey, this movie I was talking about, Cancel,
But
is that the one that
beautiful. I got to tell you one
Yeah.
more line about Egg Harbor, because we don't get up to those places. And this is so beautiful up there in this lake. And we were there the third day, the mailman came around, and Dolores answered the door. My wife answered the door, and I was still sleeping. I was trying to pack in some sleep. And the mailman says, you tell Bob that we want to do everything to make him comfortable. And Dolores said, yeah, well, thank you very much. That's very sweet of you. And he said, we'll do anything, and just so he has a good time. She said, thank you. He said, could I say hello to him? She said, he's sleeping. He said, I don't want to bother him. I just want to say hello to him.
They mean well.
Isn't that pretty? Isn't that pretty? And I want to tell you, they watch you up there. We took a walk around this town. There's nothing in the place. We had to take a walk to get that air. And you look in those windows of theirs, they're watching the television. That's all they do. You know, they're watching you. You better be good, man.
Oh, really?
You better be good. You got a lot to live up to. I love Billy Graham on your show.
Yeah, wasn't he
Isn't he
sensational?
good?
Yes.
And
we
when
did
he
about
got
40
into the
minutes.
thing about playing golf, you know, and people whether they swear when they're playing with him, reminded me. I used to play with a guy at Lakeside called Dr. Erdman. He was a minister, but nobody ever knew it, you know. And if you didn't know him, like if I invited, Eddie here to play golf with him or something, and we got out there after a couple of bad shots, the guy swore a couple of times, duty, son of a blah, 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 blah. About the fourth hole, I'd say, Party Erdman, he's a minister. That's all. Ruin the guy's game for the rest of the day. Oh, I'm sorry. Gee, I'm very sorry. I'm awfully sorry.
Psych
But
him
Graham
out.
was too much, wasn't he? Oh, and you kept him on. You kept bleeding him.
No, he was very
He was
good.
brilliant that night. Did you see it in Honolulu on your surf? They don't have those things on the surfboard, huh? Oh, God. It was just great. Just marvelous.
This picture I mentioned, Cancel My Reservation, opens at Radio City Music Hall. Is this the first time you've opened
First time
Radio
I
City
ever
Music
played
Hall?
Radio City Music Hall, because usually, for the last 25 years, we went into the Paramount. They finally tore the Paramount thing down and put in some kind of a restaurant or something. And so we're going into the Radio City Music Hall, so you're going to be famous.
That's right. I have a small, very small
We
mic.
did everything we could for you.
I haven't seen it at all. We have a film clip from it. Do we want to show it, Bobby? Have we got it racked up?
Really?
You'll have to watch the monitors here in the studio. And I don't think Bob has even seen this piece of film, but
I don't know
let's
what you're
roll it
doing.
and take a look. This is from Cancel My Reservation.
Yeah, yeah.
Careful, partner. You don't have your brand on that yet.
You're alive.
Only one of us is going to be if you make another move.
Who are you?
That's my question, stranger.
I ask you first.
But I got the gun.
Don't you know it's against the law to carry a concealed weapon?
I'm not wearing anything to conceal it in.
Sure, one thing. You have to let the horse know who is master. Obviously, this horse knows. Don't worry, we'll make it.
Oh, glad you're in good condition, honey.
Stop at the first insurance machine, will you? Yeah, we can pick up my stomach on the way back.
Dan, what are you doing?
I'm giving her mouth-to-mouth resuscitation.
That's okay, thanks.
Anytime. All I want is a fair trial.
If it ever comes to trial, you know, the people in this town are mighty sore. Mob rule may prevail.
Mob rule? Isn't there any justice?
Poor fella, he'll do anything to win an Oscar. How about that, Isn't that great? Finally made it into a Bob Hope movie. Gee, that's funny.
That's funny. We just.
That's a
Hey, you did some fine cutting there. You took all the punchlines.
Didn't want to tip all
Who
the
did that?
jokes.
The Gillette people or something? No, it's fine. That's fine. I just give you a little rough. It's sort of a Western cat and canary. That's what it is. Yeah.
How much do I have? I've never brought this up, Bob, but how much do I, having not done picture work, do I receive financially for that kind of, I mean, Radio City Music Hall, I mean, after all.
You saw it. What do you think you're worth?
Sorry I asked.
Let's move along.
Let's move along after that one. What was the first picture you ever made? The very first
The first picture was a big broadcast of
1938?
1938. Yeah.
Right.
I was 3 years old.
Yeah.
W.C. Fields and quite a cast.
Yeah.
Martha Ray, Dorothy Lamour.
Do you remember it at all? I mean,
And it was something else. I tell you, 1938. How old were you? How old were you?
1938. I was.
Anyway, let's not get into that. I
was 13 years old.
It was beautiful. There was nobody out here, but Crosby had a ukulele, and he was going steady with the Ramona. And there was nothing around here but a few Indians waiting for John Wayne to show up.
Early days out here. We're going to cut away for a second? All right, we'll be right back. Stay with us.
You could wait till we get a big laugh before you go off, you fool. Nervous fingers.
Now, we'll take a brief pause. That's what we're going to do for this message of interest.
Brief pause.
What do you think of these boots?
They're nice.
No, really.
They're really nice.
They're Florsheim, you know.
I didn't know.
Best fitting boots I've ever owned.
Right.
Is that kidskin soft? They're even lined with kidskin.
I'll take your word for it.
Hey, would you pay $50 for them?
Yeah, sure.
I paid $39.95 at Florsheim. Now that's value. Believe me, I don't throw my money around.
I believe you.
The Sultan by Florsheim, $39.95. Which glass would you rather drink from? 2 new glasses. We washed each one 10 times. The glass on left in a leading automatic dishwasher detergent. Glass on right in new formula Calgonite. Glass on left has visible residue. Calgonite glass is clearer. Because of Calgonite's exclusive new formula, your glasses can be cleaner than they are now. Look again. The choice is yours. Which glass would you rather drink from?
Bob just asked me, he said, what we're doing in the studio. That's funny. The reason we're in the studio is because you're doing your special next door. We moved over here.
Oh, that's sweet of you.
Yes.
No, we're over there filming David Cassidy for our next show.
Is he on
and the Carpenters. And
we
we
have
have
play
a fellow
October
called
sometime, doesn't it?
October 5th.
October 5th.
And we have Mark Spitz coming down next week to do it, too. How about him?
Hey, that is great.
You
That
like
is
it?
great.
How about that Mark Spitz?
7
You know, he's
gold
half
medals.
man, half fish. Nobody realized the bottom half is fish. You know?
What's he going to do with it? Is he going to work on a sketch with you or what?
I don't know yet what we're going to do. We got to
Should
talk
be
to
interesting.
him. Do what he wants to do. We may do a Tarzan thing. You know, we'll do what he wants to do. Where's the 500-pound gorilla sit? Any place he wants. No, but you know, you got to make him feel at ease because he's going to walk in. He's got more medals than Jessel, you know.
Yeah, that's a remarkable achievement.
You seen
though.
Jessel's medals, huh? He makes Westmoreland look like a draft dodger.
Well, show business is his life. Hey, you were talking, Freddie said he just won a bet about you because he was talking about the big broadcast of 1938.
Yeah.
That is the picture in which you sang Thanks for the Memory, and then they made a movie called Thanks for the Memory after that.
You know, I thought I was a comedian, and in that picture, they took me right to a bar set with Shirley Ross. I sang Thanks for the Memory, and that's the thing that kept me in pictures. Otherwise, I'd have hit the thing back to vaudeville and
Is that true?
Broadway.
I mean, because that was such a hit?
Freddie worked. We worked together in the Follies, you know, in 1935 and 36. 35 and 36. Freddie was sitting right like that, saying no to me.
Right. When did you
Follies with
decide?
Fanny Bryce. And then I did a picture called Thanks for the Memory, where I sang...
To Shirley Ross.
What's it?
Two Sleepy People.
Two Sleepy People.
I remember that.
Thank God for you. I wondered what the hell you did.
I want to ask you, I've never asked you before,
Man,
and this may sound like a dumb question.
All right.
But I don't think I've ever asked. What age were you when you decided that you wanted to be a comedian? You got laughs.
Yeah.
Were you young? Was it in school?
No, I don't know what happened there, but I found out that was where all the money was, being a comedian, you know? And then I started doing my single in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. I was doing a dancing act. And the guy asked me to go out and make an announcement about the forthcoming show, and I said, next week is Marshall Walkender's Whiz Bang Review. He's a Scotchman. I know him. He got married in the backyard so the chickens could get the rice. That played good in Pennsylvania.
You remember that joke?
Yeah, and they laughed, you know. So the next day I said, yeah, Marshall Walken did the same joke, and I said, and he killed his wife because he bought vanishing cream, And that played very well there, too, yeah. Had a better delivery in those days. But
that's interesting.
Right there, I got laughs, and I said, wait a minute, this is pretty good. So I started breaking in my act, and I went to Cleveland. I got a brown derby and a cigar, and I walked out, and I'd play for any place, and I got $5 a night, you know. Then I ran out of grocery stores to play there. I went to Detroit, and I started playing around there for $5 and $10 a night, and I made a lot of money last weekend at the Michigan State Fair. A real lot of money, you know. And it just made me think of how in 1928 I was staggering around Detroit trying to make $10 a night, you know. And then I figured up just before I walked down for the fair last weekend with the taxes and everything, I'm making about the same kind of money.
That's it.
Wow. It's true.
That's interesting that you would go from dancing telling jokes because Jack Benny was essentially a violinist, and he started telling jokes along with the violin playing, and then went the other way.
Also a floor walker.
Yes.
Follow me, and the guy said, if I could walk like that, I wouldn't need the talking powder. Remember that joke? He's beautiful, doesn't he? He walks like he's wearing Liberace's dancing belt or something. He's pretty.
Just a little minty there. You mentioned when we go back to New York, they're going to have a special day on the 21st, and the mayor's going to be there.
Yeah, that's what
Mayor
I
Lindsay.
understand. They're having a special day at the Radio City Music Hall. Nice, huh?
Right.
Nice. And I'm going to Tyler, Texas on October the 13th for the East Texas Symphony. And you're kidding. How about that? Wichita, Kansas, I'm going after that. The next day to Wichita, Kansas for another benefit.
How do you manage to keep up with it? People
I
ask
don't
you this all the time.
I
It's
lie
incredible.
about my age. I just keep staggering forward. But I tell you, I have so much fun and so many laughs, doing these shows. You do too. You go out.
I like to do it. I just was up
and
at Lake Tahoe
it's
last
therapy. When you get laughs, I think it's therapy. I'm not getting too much here tonight, but I figure
you're able to nap because I've seen you.
Yeah.
You can
During
get in
the
the
show.
car and during the show. No, you can get in the car on the way to the airport and catch.
I can't.
And go to sleep.
I relax pretty good. As long as they pay, I relax pretty good.
And you're going to be gone on October the 1st or 2nd. I think you said you're in Georgia or something, so you can't be with us on our anniversary.
Right.
And
I wish I could be. I'm going to be in Macon, Georgia. Another big benefit for local citizens thing there. And I'm going to be in the University of Missouri on the next day. Isn't that all? 30th of September. But if you want me, I could send you an 8x10 glossy or something.
Hold on. Got this one from Egg Harbor here. Hey, I thank you for coming. I know you've got to run.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Thank
We'll
you,
see you.
John.
We'll see you soon. Thank you, Bob. What a man. What an incredible schedule. It still amazes me. No matter how many times he tells me, but like every single day, he is appearing somewhere.
Doing some.
Next time we get him back, we're going to give him... he was a pretty fair dancer. He was a pretty fair hoofer. We'll get him up next time. Maybe we can learn a few steps. We do this first, then Dom DeLuise will join us. You ever found a latex wall paint that cleans like enamel? Well, here...
They've gone.
Home. Home at last from Bull Run, Petersburg, Shiloh, and defeat. General Pierre Beauregard, the Napoleon in gray, came home to New Orleans, grieving for his lost dreams. Sears recently painted his house with new Easy Living paint, a beautifully elegant new flat latex that complements the walls of the most gracious homes. But that's not the only reason Sears used Easy Living paint. Day in and day out, tourists leave fingerprints on the walls and woodwork. Ordinary household dirt does not penetrate this incredibly tough surface. Marks wash right off. And that's what's so remarkable about Easy Living paint. Use Easy Living paint for easier living from front hall to kitchen, in every room, on every surface that you touch. Easy Living paint, Sears' best and Sears' first flat latex that cleans like enamel. Designed for great American homes, like yours.
Before Dom comes out, I might mention tomorrow night's guests. We have Don Rickles with us, Dionne Warwick, and Hal David, of course, who collaborates on all that great music with Burt Bacharach, Pat Boone, and Dr. Irwin Maxwell Stillman. Can you see Rickles and Dr. Stillman? That ought to be. He's a very funny gentleman, most talented. He will be appearing regularly on the Dean Martin Show this fall. Would you welcome our good friend Dom DeLuise?
America. Wonderful to be back.
They like you.
Oh, they're good.
Did you tell
People
that?
are nice, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very lucky. Is this wood? Everything is from Michael. You can't knock on wood anymore. You notice that? It's here, it's something, you know.
Are you superstitious?
Oh,
You
no,
have
but you
little-
got to be careful. Now, listen, if there's a ladder
Yeah.
and
that's what
a
I was
nun and a black cat, I stop right away. You know, when I say, I don't go under a ladder on purpose. I'm
Right.
careful. I had a cousin who said if you see two nuns, you got to go the other way.
I've never heard that before.
No, my cousin, he was
Cousin, weird.
You have to
weird.
be careful. He used to bet on the horses all the time. He said, I almost made $1,000 today. And you see, he meant if he had the money, he would have bet on this horse, And black cats don't bother me particularly. I always like to see a little white spot on them, Then I know they're okay.
Then you do.
But
have
I'm
to-
not superstitious.
Of course you are. Everybody says that.
Somebody
I'll be
says you shouldn't put shoes on the table in a dressing room. Why take a chance? You've
Shoes
heard
on
of
a
that.
table? No, I've never heard that one. I've heard of the hat on the bed.
Well, hat on the bed. See, I don't work that room so much.
You work the shoes on the table
tables,
room. I didn't know.
Tables, you got to be careful.
How have you been?
I've been terrific. I've
You
been
look
working
great.
a lot on the Dean Martin Show, and I've had a wonderful time because you meet people like who you were talking about, Jack Benny.
That's right.
Now, I've admired him for years, and I met him a few times, but I had... Are you all right?
Excuse me, I'm fine.
But I had a whole week with him. And boy, he's terrific, you know? You know what I mean? Sure.
He's incredible, man.
I mean, he's incredible because he's enthusiastic about life and, you know, and about his jokes and stuff. I really admire him, you know? My hat came off to him before, but it's really, you know, I really...
It's amazing, amazing talent.
Yeah.
And
boy, was he funny. I mean, I'm talking about really funny so that you would cry a little, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really good.
was he one of your idols when you were growing up? He was,
Yes.
Jack was one of mine.
Sure, why not? I used to listen to the radio to him, you know, his vault, you know. I would listen on Saturday. Radio is very deceiving, you see. When I was a kid, on Saturday, we'd listen to the radio, and I'd see the Frog Prince, Let's Pretend, and he'd become the prince, and you know, I'd see all that stuff. And then one day, my cousin took me down, and I saw this show, and they're standing in front of a microphone. Yeah. Oh, no, don't do it. You know, ribbit. And I went, that's it? So disappointed. Then television came, and I liked it. You know,
takes all the fun away, doesn't it?
You could see all the mistakes they made.
You remember Lights Out on radio? That
Lights
great
Out.
show
The Witch's
they had?
Tale, I remember that.
No, they used to have one called Lights Out. Everybody was late at night, and they did these wild, incredible things.
Like
you know,
doors creaking.
Driving a stake into somebody's heart. But sound effect-wise, it would absolutely drive you crazy on radio. You can hardly duplicate that on television.
No, you can't do that anymore. I've been listening to radio as I drive home on Sunday night. You can hear the Green Hornet and different stories. And
the Green Hornet is on?
Didn't you know?
Yeah.
Well,
no.
You keep going to Vegas and making money.
I didn't know the Green Hornet was back on radio.
Yeah, well, it's on Sunday night. Oh, maybe only my car gets it, but in any case, but I hear it.
A wild car there.
And I like it, and I think, oh, it's interesting. But
is that Cato?
Cato is there, right?
I didn't know that.
Did the Shadow.
The Shadow do.
Right. Right. But they kept saying, I'll tell you what my plan is, and the music would go, and he'd say, Inspector, here's my plan. He says, Cato, here's what I plan to do. You know, it was terrible. Really terrible.
Did you ever send away as a kid?
For everything.
For all the premiums?
I have all the buttons and the whistles and the thing you put up the nose and nobody will know that you're...
What is that? Hold it. What?
Well, that was... I mean, the Long Ranger ring. You know, in case you're in trouble, you blew it. Woo! Like that, you know. And Tonto would come, give you a little... You know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I loved being a kid because it was... I loved to send away for things, for free things, you know.
And wait at the mailbox.
Yeah, and they only lasted as you open the envelope and it said, and it would break. You know? But you loved it. Oh, look at this. It's a wheel that you could hold. I don't know what it... You know what I mean? They sent you nothing.
Didn't you ever get the Orphan Annie decoder pin?
Right,
Sure.
all
Remember
of that stuff.
And
give you a message
Oh,
at
and
the
you'd
end
sit
of
there and they'd give you the secret message at the end of the thing, and the message would be, buy Ovaltine, which I thought was kind of a hokey trick to do on an 8-year-old
But
kid.
wasn't it exciting, though? See, now my thrills and chills are harder to come by.
Yeah. What?
But when I enjoy them, I enjoy them. I tell you one thing that happened. Can I tell this?
Sure, you can tell anything you want.
Let me ask my conscience if I... Yeah, no, this is...
You asked yourself?
Sure. I don't know, because I was there. The marvelous thing about my son is that he's mine, you know. Well, I'm saying that as a sentimental father. I really like that. And we were living on the beach for a while, and the beach was being taken away by the ocean. The ocean had a storm, and it was saying, give me the ocean, give me this thing. And it just took a big chunk out, you know. Now, we had steps coming by this house, and then would come sand. So like that, you see. You'd walk down steps and then go. So the ocean came, took some sand away, and then I had to build 2 other steps, you know. And I built them, see, so they were my steps, even though we rented the house. Now comes the storm again, and it took about, I don't know, another 6 feet from the ocean, just took it away. So these steps are hanging, and I jumped down, and I was going, I'm going to get the... I took my clothes off. I was going to save my steps, and my 6-year-old son said, don't go out there, Dad. They're just steps. I said, but they're my steps. And he said, this is the sad part. It's not touching. He said, they have no life, Dad. Oh, you know the Jewish word kvel?
Kvel.
All over.
Yeah.
I was kvelling a lot. My steps went out, but, you know, I lost them.
But they're not.
And I thought that was a nice
now.
thing for him to say, you know. That was a real joy
He's
for me.
6.
Yeah. That was like a button that you get in the mail for me.
Do you get all the parents' books, you know, that how to you know, raise your child and talk?
Yeah,
to
sure. They're terrific. Yeah. I told my son, I said, I'll never hit you again. Of course, I read books, and I know that you shouldn't hit. And I said, and you have to be very careful with me because I'll just tell you what I want. You'll go to your room, you'll listen, punishment, like a grown-up. The other day, I have one little boy about 9 months old like this, if my son lets him live longer. And you know, you got to watch
sibling rivalry there?
Little sibling. He picked him up, and from the back, here's what I saw. I just saw, here's the baby, and I saw a bonk. And then I saw his face, and he was consoling the 9-month-old, and he was saying, you'll be all right, you'll be all right. But the big smile, and I said, as a good, compassionate father, go to your room! You know,
exercising control.
Yeah, because, and then I suddenly said, oh, geez, that's not good. I swatted him as he went by, lefty, you know. I says, what did he learn? To scream and yell and hit, you know.
Right.
So
Were
I
you
said,
spanked as a child?
Yeah, from the back of the neck, my father would just go, paw, you know. Well, my father was terrific.
Yeah.
A good hitter. He once gave me a dime when I was about 14 years old, and I said, he was going to go hunting. My father was he went like this if he wanted you. No matter where you were, even if you were making love, you would drop your girl and go. He wanted you then, you know. And anyway, he gave me a dime when I was...
You drop your girl.
Well, whatever you were doing, he wanted you, you know. He was a tough guy, you know. He was very tough. He used to, at home, the general tone was, I'll give you the tone, be careful. Get out of the way! No more! That was the general. I mean, I was eating like this all the time. You know, at the dinner table, it was just, I never seen nothing like in my life. That was just Christmas, you know?
Then when he got excited... Was he born here, or is he from...
Yeah, oh no, he was born in Brooklyn. And then when he was 2 months old, his mother took him back to Italy. And that's when he learned Italian. He didn't learn English very well, but he would say, instead of breakfast, he would say breakfast.
Breakfast.
Yeah. And there's a couple of words he used to say. I guess, can you say Jesus Christ on television?
Well,
this is telling a story. Yes. You may have to bleep this whole thing. Shall I take a chance? Yeah. Okay. He would say, instead of... Are you nervous? No. Well, sometimes when people swear, they say, Jesus Christ. They do say that. You know that.
Yes.
And that's the truth. Okay. Almighty, they say that whole thing together, angrily. Okay? Then they also say, for crying out loud. And my father took these two expressions, and they came out when he was angry. For crying level almighty. Just took
the best of both.
That's right. You just took just put them together. For crying level almighty. And then I'd say that must be bad.
That must be.
But he left out the good parts, you know, the part. I don't think taking the Lord's name in vain, if you want to do that. I don't want to make I don't want to make any enemies, but I tell you that as a humorous anecdote. Anyway, I'll tell you this. I know you have to go to a spot.
No, we don't.
But when he was 12 years old, when I was 12 years old, he was going hunting, and he gave me a dime. I couldn't believe it. I said, a dime? He woke me up at 5 o'clock in the morning. He said, here's a dime. And I was so touched. He had tears in his eyes. He missed me. I thought, he loves me. The man who says, yeah, for crying level almighty. Loves me. I took the dime, and I put a pencil mark on it, and I still have that dime.
Is that right?
Yeah, because he never gave me a dime. Usually he gave me this, paw, you know, in the kitchen. Oh. But he was a sweet man. He turned out to be like a lion later. Do you have a minute?
Certainly.
Do you charge much? No, I'm all right now. I loved him as he got older. I loved him very much because I realized that he did what he thought was right.
Right.
You know, and he was a sweet, dear, wonderful man, and we loved each other very much. Fortunately, he got to be very old, and we got to be really good friends. I would yell back at him louder, and that would make him laugh a lot. You know, I'd yell a lot. You can go now. It's okay.
And now Ed is going to show you how tasty.
Wrong. It's all right. How tasty, but I'm very sad.
How twisty?
How twisty?
How twisty? Now, a grown man. How can a breakfast cereal be twisty? Well, it's twisty and it's tasty, and it's only 240 calories.
Tasty is right, John, because for less than 240 calories, you can get the Special K breakfast. It really is special because you get a 1-ounce serving of delicious Special K, America's favorite high-protein cereal, plus some skim milk and some sugar, a glass of refreshing orange juice or tomato juice, and a cup of hot coffee. So start your weight control program right with the right kind of breakfast, the Special K breakfast. Less than 240 calories, 99% fat-free. It is 100% delicious.
America's waking up to a great breakfast idea.
Frosted Mini Wheats from Kellogg's.
Oh, they're grand and glorious cereals made from golden wheat. Oh, they're all American sugar or cinnamon Frosted Mini Wheats.
cane sugar frosting.
Or brown sugar cinnamon.
And a great little size.
And fortified with 4 essential B vitamins.
Oh, they're all-American sugar cinnamon frosting mini wheats.
Welcome back. We're talking with Dom DeLuise and the problem.
Oh, and you were going to
of
say
raising
the problem
children.
of
Has
raising
your
children.
son come to you yet, like all children do at that age, when they ask the questions like, "Where did I come from?" and so forth?
Oh, sure.
My
I
kids are
told them
pretty
right
well.
away.
I'm pretty well grown now, and I forgot how you go through that.
Oh, it's really tough. I don't try. I get expert advice. See, I see an analyst. I'll tell you that right now. Not that I need it, but you never know if you're going to have a breakdown. You know, you got a telephone number ready. You know, and I must say that I get a lot of help about how to relate to my wife better, because we're getting better and better. Really, I have to tell you that, hon. It's wonderful. I mean, it's nice to be friends with your wife. It takes a lot of work, you know.
Certainly
and, you know,
does.
and you got to say,
It does.
well, you know, because it's hard to be friends with her and still work. Look, here's what I'm saying. Anyway, I'm breaking my heart doing it.
Over you.
And from time to time, my son will want to know how babies are made, you know. So we got a book, and it says how babies are made, and you say innocent little things like mommy and daddy lie close together, and we plant a seed, and then comes a baby, you know. And then you just give them a little information, and you don't get
all that they can really
too graphic,
assimilate,
because you don't want him to get nervous when he's only 6 years old.
Well, there's a famous story, you know, that shows that parents can over-explain sometimes. The kid goes to his mother and says, "Mommy, where did I come from?" And the mother sits down and goes through the very detailed thing about the egg and so forth and so on, and the uterus and so forth. And after she got through, the kid says, "No, Billy across the street came from Detroit. Where did I come from?" So you over-explain too much before the kid's ready.
There's more truth to that, because they really don't want that much information. You know, slowly. And by the way, I will be very honest with them, because, see, I tell you, I don't know how many of you knew where you came from when you were 12. But somebody told me on the corner what possibly my mother and father had to do to conceive me. And I said, "Don't you dare say that. My mom and dad would never do that." And they said, "Well, what do you think that, you know?" And I said, "Well, that's just an eggshell. That's, you know, 12. Do you understand?" I was going to become a priest, but then I found out that you didn't, that wasn't eggs, so I got married instead.
Well, why not? That's a good enough reason to get married.
Well, and for that reason, I think that the kids should know, and I think it's
as
a
they
wonderful
ask,
thing.
and as their mind is capable of understanding that, you tell them and tell them honestly. I saw a show the other night in which a doctor was talking to somebody. I think it was on the David Susskind show, and he says parents often make a mistake when they say the baby is in the mother's stomach, and the doctor says don't say that, because that is really not true. He says you can say uterus. You don't have to explain in graphic detail. You just say it's near the stomach. But he said that's wrong also, because that gives it gives the wrong impression. But you hear that all the time.
Right. My son always asks wonderful questions like, "What does that mean, Daddy?" And around our place it says "wanted alive." You know, there are a lot of children driving.
Post, yes.
So you have to go into the thing, "wanted dead or alive" is a thing they had on you. And I try to tell him as patiently as I can about the world. It's so big, and it's been here such a long time that they have to have so much information. He's only 6 years old. He's got a lot of information already, you know.
Television does that to kids. You know, they're so much more aware of what's going on in the world because they see it every single day.
The only thing my son asks for now is that he wants a monkey and an elephant.
A monkey and an elephant?
Yeah, for some reason.
How do you handle that?
Well, I handle it like this. No. I look at him.
I think that's
you
direct.
You can't have an elephant. You know, who's going to walk it? And where?
Curb your elephant. I mean, that's kind of weird.
No.
Yes.
I can't do that.
No. Sometimes you just say you don't have to always give a reason. You know, just say because it's my house and it's my house and I'm bigger than you are.
Right. When my son threw my big son threw my small son on the floor, you know, I said to him, "That's not allowed. That is not allowed. I'll get you a doll. You can bang the doll around, but you cannot bang your brother around. It's just not allowed."
That's reasonable.
You know, if anybody banged you around, I would be very mad at him.
Right.
Then he kind of listened, and I said, it's not allowed.
You sound like you're a good father.
Sincere.
That's right.
Also, I give a whack from time to time that I don't mean to, but it comes out.
That's not
like
going to warp him, you know.
No.
The Tonight Show will continue in a moment after this word, so stay tuned. Hey, I got it out.
They were close to one another, yet they never met. It seemed as though they had nothing in common. Dubonnet is soft, smooth, refined. Ginger ale is just ginger ale. And ice, merely frozen water. But when they met, something magical happened. The French wench was conceived. Some people think Dubonnet is a drink for little old ladies. Have a French wench and see.
This table was beautiful once, but look at the wax buildup. And you can't remove old wax with still more wax. Now, watch Scott's Liquid Gold go to work. Looks terrible, but Liquid Gold is dissolving the blotchy layers of wax, restoring the wood to its natural beauty. For heavier wax buildup, leave Liquid Gold on overnight, then wipe dry. Liquid Gold absorbs into the wood, leaving only the natural finish. Scott's Liquid Gold. Either way, liquid or spray, there's nothing else like it.
John Denver is one of the most, yeah, you can applaud to our band.
Good guy. Doc Severinsen, boy.
Thank you, boys. John Denver, who's coming out right now, is probably one of the most talented songwriters and performers in our business. He'll be appearing at the Greek Theater here September 21st through the 24th. This is his latest album, Rocky Mountain High. Would you welcome John Denver?
Hey,
John.
Thank you. Be sure it's true when you say I love you. It's a sin to tell a lie. Millions of hearts have been broken just because these words were spoken. I love you, yes I do. I love you. If you break my heart, I'll die. So be sure it's true when you say I love you. It's a sin to tell a lie. Cross my heart, I hope to die. I never, never, never tell another white lie. Took my little girl out on a date last night. Next to her, brown and curly hair, I looked all right. Now I'm between the devil and the deep blue sea. Cause I said, baby, you look good to me. I told her I loved her, but oh, how I lied. And now she's getting set to be my blushing bride. If she leads me to the altar, I'm sunk. Cause I can't tell the preacher I was drunk. So Lord have mercy on an old count sin and give me one more chance to let another guy win her. Cross my heart, hope to die. I never, never, never tell her one more time. I'll never tell another white lie. Vodo-de-o-do.
How you been?
Very fine, thank you.
I remember your last time here you did a song about Toledo.
Yep.
Right? We heard from a few people from Toledo. It was kind of a good-natured rib at the town, right?
Oh, yeah, as a satirical kind of song. And as a matter of fact, about a week after I did that on your show here, we did a concert at Blossom Music Center in Cleveland, Ohio. And there were a lot of people from Toledo in the audience.
What were some of those lyrics in that song?
Saturday night in Toledo, Ohio was like being nowhere at all. And it goes on from there.
But they didn't storm the stage?
No, as a matter of fact, that was just about my most requested song that night.
Yeah.
I had a song I was going to do for you tonight called Forest Lawn.
I saw my producer go,
Yeah.
What
I
is it?
noticed. I beg your pardon.
No, that's all right. They didn't want you to do it, I assume?
Well, I guess it's a little touchy. I've done it on television a couple of times and did it on an album. And thought, I've always wanted, if I ever got the chance to do your show, to do that song. But I think it's a little bit... We talked to some people, they got the lyrics and everything, and I beg your pardon, you guys.
Well... No, that's what we're looking for, controversy. It's okay.
People get uptight about it.
Oh, they do. Well, you have to watch things like that, Like I'm sure in the interest of you people especially, I understand they're a little touchy, and you have to watch what you do on television.
Yeah, you really do.
We got into trouble once before, I don't know if I mentioned this last time, when we did the I Was Not a Nazi Polka, when I was with the Mitchell Trio.
Yes.
Who writes your songs?
Well, see, There are just a couple of things. I used to be a part of a group that was known sort of for the satirical material they did. And we're really the only people that are doing college concerts, for those audiences that are doing that kind of material. And so it's something that since I've been on my own, I've tried to retain. And
I think you're doing a good job.
Well, it goes over great for those audiences.
Sure.
And sometimes you get into trouble, but it's all in fun.
I've been in trouble myself. It's okay.
Did you get followed by the groupies like a lot of the young stars do, the pop stars, the rock stars that follow them around all over?
No, I really don't have any problems with that. I think my musicians sometimes are a little disgusted with me for that. I write so many songs about my wife, Annie. Goodbye Again, which I did last time here, and Leaving on a Jet Plane and stuff. And they leave me alone. I think they feel that they realize I'm pretty comfortable at home.
Somebody asked me to ask you about an experience you had. I don't know whether they're putting me on something that happened during your honeymoon.
Yeah, God, I'll never live this down. Ann and I got married about 5.5 years ago, and we went out to Phoenix, Arizona for our honeymoon. We were at a trailer camp where her grandparents had stayed, an old people's...
retirement village type of place?
Yeah, exactly. And while we were there one night, I'd gone out to see some friends, and ended up doing a little guest set at a nightclub out there, and Annie was feeling kind of poorly. And I started getting worried about her, and asked if she wanted to go home. No, she didn't want to, and so the evening progressed, and finally she did feel bad enough that we took her home. And as she kept getting worse and worse, and we've been married like 2 or 3 days, and I was getting very concerned. We went by the hospital. I said, "Now listen, kid, you want me to take you in?" And she says, "No." So we went on. We got to the trailer and went to bed, and she couldn't even undress. She couldn't lie down, And I said, "Okay, that's it. I'm taking you to the doctor." So we called the emergency room, went there. They couldn't figure out what it was. They gave her some pain pills and decided that they would set up an appointment to see a doctor the next morning, which we did. Went to see the doctor, went through this whole thing, and Annie was in there, it seemed like years, And pretty soon she came out and wouldn't tell me anything. Just pay the bill, we'll go. And I was getting nervous, and we got outside. I said, "Well, now, what's the matter?" She says, "Well, I was in there, and the doctor was examining me. There was a nurse standing there, and he says, 'What are you doing in Phoenix, Annie?' She says, 'Well, we just got married, been married a couple of days, and we're having our honeymoon here.' She says, 'Oh, is that right? How long did you say you've been married?' 'Just 2 days.' Well, Annie, I'll be honest with you. I think this lovemaking has gotten a bit much for you. I think your husband's cracked your rib."
The new champ and winner.
Oh, it was nothing.
You tiger, you. Huh?
Well,
She's walking around with a cracked rib and didn't know it.
Yeah. And of course, she was embarrassed to death. The nurse was standing there giggling, and...
You were standing there going,
yeah. Sure. I mean, I started bragging to people.
Maybe you're doing it wrong.
That's fine.
I never thought about
Funny
that.
story. Hey, we've talked about this on the show before to other people. There are probably more amateur songwriters in this country.
Yes, sir.
Everybody thinks they can write a song. And they sit down and they send it away to be published. And, of course, they can get it published. Does it come easy for you?
No, sir. It's really... every once in a while a song will be kind of easy, but they're very few and far between, when I get the mood to write a song. And though I think what reputation, whatever I have, is based mostly on having written songs like Leaving on a Jet Plane and Follow Me and stuff, they really are very few and far between. And I consider myself primarily a performer, an entertainer. There are a lot of singer-songwriters around today. It seems, that's really the kind of music that people are interested in now.
Right.
But there aren't any other ones that would do things by other artists on their albums. Nobody does It's a Sin to Tell a Lie anymore.
Right.
That's such a great song.
Oh, it's a wonderful song.
And but I like to write songs. I really feel good about having that avenue of expression.
This is the next thing you're going to do for us after we do this is your new single, right?
Yes, sir.
Is this one you wrote?
Yes, sir. I wrote it in January, and the single is called Hard Life, Hard Times. But when I wrote the song, the way it is on the album, it's called Prisoners. It's about prisoners of war.
Good. Love to hear it when we come back. Okay. All right, we'll do this first. We'll be back with John Denver, Dom DeLuise, and Peter Fonda will join us shortly.
I am Luis Reyes. This is my family. I have a farm in Cibao, the finest land for growing cigar tobacco in all of Santo Domingo. Dutch masters buys my tobacco for their cigars. They buy other mild, expensive tobaccos too, from Colombia, Brazil, Puerto Rico. But to me, it is most important that Dutch masters buy my tobacco. If they buy my tobacco, they must make a very good cigar.
This is a capsule of vitamin E. Many things have been said about it, but one fact has recently been proven. Vitamin E applied to the skin can help prevent perspiration odor. The Menon Company has put this discovery to a very practical everyday use. Menon E, an effective family deodorant that is kind to the body. It's called Menon E because it's made with vitamin E. Menon E, a new era in deodorant protection.
Right now, here's John Denver to do his latest single, Prisoners. John?
Josie works a counter at the downtown 5 and dime, anything at all to help her pass the time. My mama keeps a baby, my grandpa rambles on about the good times playing in his mind. It's a hard life living when you're lonely. It's a long night sleeping alone. It's a hard time waiting for tomorrow. It's a long, long way home. Josie spends the evening with the people on the pages of the paperback she picked up at the store. Or sometimes it's a TV, but she'll try to write a letter. Whoa, they don't come too often anymore. It's a hard life living when you're lonely. It's a long night sleeping alone. It's a hard time waiting for tomorrow. It's a long, long way home. I stare at the gray walls before me, and I see her face in the stone. And I try to imagine our baby. I wish they would let me go home. I wish they would let me go home. It's a hard life living when you're lonely. It's a long night sleeping alone. It's a hard time waiting for tomorrow. It's a long, long way home. It's a long, long way home. Bring me and the other boys home. Bring me and the other boys home.
Peter Fonda will join us after a word from one of our sponsors. We'll be right back. That's a good song.
Thank you.
You know, Doc, now you can look a lot, feel a lot, the way you really are inside.
Well, are you trying to tell me
I don't know what I'm
something,
trying to
Mr.
tell you.
McMahon?
I know what I'm trying to tell you. But most of all, that's just the philosophy behind Johnny's new clothes for fall.
You mean like that great-looking window pane plaid number?
Yeah, look at that. Pure wool with rich suede accents. Coordinated shirts and ties as well. Look at that.
Say, Ed, is it raining?
Not yet, but when it does, you'll look good in Johnny's new Hartley raincoat.
And when the sun shines?
You step out in this lightweight heather twill suit made from Klopman's two-way texturized stretch fabrics.
Next up, Johnny's rugged new velveteen sports suit with full trousers and battle jacket. I'm telling you, it's ready for anything.
And you know, Doc, this is just part of Johnny's new fall wardrobe. Great looks to make you feel great, and at prices that won't make you feel small. At fine stores throughout the United States and Canada. From the one nearest you, just write Johnny Carson Apparel, Buffalo.
Buffalo?
Yeah, New York, 14240.
Oh, I see.
Last week we got a little behind time on our show because we had Reverend Billy Graham on, and Peter Fonda was nice enough to give Reverend Graham his time and said he could come back with us tonight. He's a most talented young man, as an actor, a producer, and a director, and he will soon be appearing in the new Robert Wise film, Two People. Would you welcome, please, Peter Fonda? I never did get a chance to thank you the other night when we had Billy Graham on. It was very nice of you to give up the time there. We got behind schedule.
Well, that happens. You know, he's a very fascinating person.
Yeah, he was.
He's a filmmaker, too. I've got to give filmmakers time.
That's right. He does produce quite a bit of films. I was going to ask you a quote last time. We'll talk about it. Orson Welles, I think, and the quote was, "Every actor in his heart believes everything bad that's ever been printed about him." I was going to ask you if you believe that. I know a lot of actors do.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Do you?
Take the worst, you know, and then build from there. Lots of bad things are always said, and lots of good things are said, too. Right. Unfortunately, I think we go overboard on both sides. An actor takes too much of what's good said about him and tends to let that weight his head down, or bad and tends to hide.
Right. You ever answer the critics if they say something unkind or untrue, or you just ignore it and...
Occasionally, I answer them in the shower, you know. Singing in the shower.
I know exactly what you mean, yes.
Yeah, it's better to sing in the shower when you don't know how to sing, and if I don't know what to say, and it's really not a fair thing to come off to a critic if you... Maybe it is. It's a problem. One wants to stand up and defend one's works always, you know.
Right. But you can't really win with the press in the long haul anyway, so it's better just to kind of...
You try to go out and give an interview, I suppose, about something you do, if it's a song or a movie or a painting, to explain a bit more of it, to make it more understandable. I occasionally get hit, and there's no way out.
Excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt. I think the thing to do is to not be hurt by it so it doesn't affect your next work. I think that it's very hard not to be hurt by what a critic says, you know.
If you have any sensitivity at all.
Right. So
I don't believe actors who say...
You got to open up to perform and to produce, and then you've got to protect yourself from the critic. So it's a
I don't believe actors who say bad reviews don't bother me.
Well, they've got to bother you.
But I've heard people say that. They've got to bother if you're sensitive at all, because it hurts in what you do.
You're made to be very vulnerable in front of the camera, and this is a camera, you know. Right. So, as an actor, you have to be a child again and build a whole new person, and that means you are literally undressed, psychically or whatever. And to have somebody say, well, you know, he was adequate, or really, oh, God, that's the worst word. I'd rather hear somebody say he was terrible, he filthy-mouthed, commie radical.
But adequate.
I would die if they said I'd fall over dead.
If they said that you were filthy-mouthed, commie radical?
Yeah, because I get very hurt. I remember those words. I go, if a critic says something, I go, just repeat those words in my head. You know, and I shave in the morning, I go, it's terrible. I dwell in it. It's
do you enjoy your success? That may sound like a dumb question, but that you're known now for what you do as an actor. Have you found that your friends change around you when you become successful?
Well, yeah, I guess I have noticed this change, and I've enjoyed it to the extent that I went out and made several movies after Easy Rider, directed them, didn't pay myself anything to do it, and paid for the film. Gee, I don't know. It's hard to say.
Do you enjoy the fame itself? I mean, the money that goes along with it, or is that...
That's got to be relative. Having traveled around the world, seeing what different monies are, and understanding what money is, to try to have that as a a standard of one's worth or interest, it's a bum thing. Oh, I've got a boat, you know. I enjoy
Yeah, that's where you enjoy going, isn't it?
Do you enjoy singing? You see,
Yeah.
You get to perform. Both of you get to perform out in front, and when I'm behind a camera, that's it. You know, if I'm just a director, I don't have any audience to bounce off of. You've got an audience here.
You get immediate reaction when you work in
energy,
one.
You know, you don't have any of that stuff.
But don't you get a feeling of accomplishment when you direct something? I'm sure you do. The
Yes.
product is there.
Go pick up that rock and move it across there.
Right.
Why? Never mind why. Move the rock.
Jack Benny,
motivation stuff.
I asked Jack once. Jack Benny, I said, "What do you like most about being famous?" And he said, and he thought for a while. He said, "Not having to stand in line at an airport." In other words, it was a little fact that the little services he would get of being a celebrity, and that's the whole thing to him, was that he didn't have to stand in line at an airport.
That embarrasses me, though.
Does it when
If
other people are
tries
waiting?
to do that to me, I get embarrassed. I can't handle that scene at all.
In other words, if
Because
they
I get
come-
embarrassed when I walk out and somebody's, oh, look at that. And I think, God, I spilled something on my shirt. I don't know how to handle it, really. But I can handle it as long as there's a camera or a director or something else hand me. You're protected at that moment of vulnerability. When the critics hit you, that's another thing we've talked about.
Have you ever thought about performing live or doing anything like that on stage?
I started that way, yeah. I did like 200 or 300 performances on stage and then did a Broadway show called Blood, Sweat, and Stanley Pool.
Yeah.
That's the first time I did your show.
Yeah, David Merrick, I think, once said about actors, he said all actors are children or
Thank God.
childlike and so forth, which really is probably true.
Yeah.
Uninhibited, and the more childlike I think actors are, or inquiring, the better they are at times.
It's hard to think of John Wayne as a child.
Yes.
You know.
Very large child.
He's one of the big ones, you know.
Huh?
Big much child.
But he's very open and honest in his films. There's something very open and honest about Duke's work. You know, I don't know what I should call him, Mr. Wayne, I guess, sir. You know, but he's very open. You know, and that's what your work is marvelous when you perform. It's great. It's worth all the trouble you go through. You see, because we're getting something from your performance that's wonderful. I'm sorry, you could suffer. It's okay, as far as I'm concerned. I think talent has to suffer a little bit. You know, they say that if you're talented, you're going to suffer. I
suffer
suffer all
great
the
deal?
time. Sure. I'm suffering now.
Are you suffering now, Dom?
But it's true. You know, John, it's not... This job doesn't only have pluses. It has to have minuses, right? And you'll know your minuses, I'm sure.
Sure. You're on the road or something like that doing concerts, you know, and it gets very lonely. It gets very lonely if you're trying to do something and you don't know if it's coming through, you don't know if you're getting across this thing. It's a part of you, you know. It's hard. I think that's very true. You know, I think that the thing you're talking about actors or artists or whatever being children is the fact that we're very open. We're influenced by everything that we see. Everything can touch you, and it might touch you a little bit more deeply than others. And so you feed that back to them so that they can get it also.
Didn't you at one time, rather than being an actor, didn't you want to be a lawyer at one time, if I remember?
Indeed, yeah, indeed. I figured that
That
was
still
one
intrigue you?
stage, you know, and this was another stage, and I could get more out of it on this stage. As a lawyer, I'd only have a small courtroom. You know, I just thought about the question you asked me about fame. I don't know how I relate to it on an outside level, but before we came on the show, John came over to the dressing room, looked in and said, hi, you know, and I really like what you're doing and all that. I thought, well, that makes it worthwhile. Then that's all right.
Well, isn't that what all performers in the end result? You really want the acceptance of your peer
man.
group,
Yeah.
basically, your fellow
It's all
entertainers.
security, isn't it? Boy, what a word security is.
Do you have any goals now that you,
Survival.
say when you were 20, you wanted to be a lawyer? Have your goals at all
19.
changed now? Or 19, you want to be a lawyer?
Oh, yeah, you know, lots of them changed as I learned more about the world around me. You know, television, of course, was an incredible thing. I was born in 1940, so I was one of those TV babies. It was there, and suddenly all
That's
this
like a
information...
TV dinner, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess
TV
so. You know,
baby.
really. You can roll out my mind like it's wrapped in
1940,
tinfoil.
really? 1940. I was writing my name in 1940.
I was just kicking a lot, you know.
Uh-huh.
But you've got to change your views. I think you've got to change your views, at least when you have more information about what happens around you in the world, not just in America, but on the planet at large. Now we've been to the moon, we can see the unit of the Earth. This has been immensely important to me, whereas my mind was very narrow about civilization and society when I was 20, say, even. And I'd had a lot of television. When I actually got out there to see what television was filming and could understand the translation, I had to change my viewpoints and become more humanitarian in order to survive as an actor, in order to be able to relate to everything around me.
Right. You get away in your boat a lot, don't you? Remember, didn't you have a broken leg once on the show? You were taking off for somewhere and
Yeah.
with the leg still in a cast?
Yeah. You asked me how I was going to do it. I said slowly. I got there, though.
And you did it, too, with a busted leg. That's fascinating. We're going to take a break here, and we will be right back after this word from your local station. We're back. We have about a minute here. The Robert Weiss film I mentioned, 2 people. When does this open?
I don't know when Bob wants to open it. I think probably after December because of all the glut of motion pictures it tries to compete for the Oscar.
That's right. They do that, don't they? They have to get them in a
Dump
certain
it out
year.
By the 12th or something, and 15th of December.
Well, that's the way it works. I see. In other words, if your picture comes out after the first year, then it's up for the award in the following year.
Mm-hmm.
I wish you good luck with it. I hope it's a good picture.
Thank you. I hope so, too.
John, where are you headed for?
We have the Greek Theater this weekend.
That's right.
And then Carnegie Hall in New York the 30th.
Carnegie Hall?
Right.
Yeah.
You ever play Carnegie Hall?
Freaks me out, I'll tell you.
Little country boy playing Carnegie Hall.
Yeah, I'm flying my folks up from Denver and my wife's folks. And,
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
I'll be appearing in my living room.
Don will be in his living room immediately following the show. Tomorrow night, Don Rickles, Dionne Warwick, and Hal David, Pat Boone, and Dr. Still. Thank you. Good night.